This is one of those rare moments where I'm not wearing a hat. So,
Awesome. Here we go. Hey, everyone. We're live with Kenny from Manta, and welcome. Appreciate you being
hey,
on the call. And yeah,
thanks
this
for
is a
having me.
yeah, we're very excited about your project. I think a lot of people are. I've seen a lot of chatter, which is great. It's good. It's good. Really good chatter. Good chatter. I mean
Oh,
that.
good, good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I was a big supporter. I jumped in the Crowdloan with my personal money, so I'm a big fan. And then also too, just
Thanks.
it's been great. Yeah, with Bifrost, we were like right launching. It was launching right when as far as
Yeah,
Crowdloans, right when you
on
guys were on. So
Kusama.
yeah. So it was so it was really timing was kind of interesting with the Crowdloans. So yeah, so definitely. Well, so do you want to give a little intro about yourself, about the project? Everyone, I know a lot of people would like to hear about how you got started too.
Yeah, sure. So, a little intro about myself. I've been an entrepreneur for a while now. I started back in 2011 with my first company, and it was in the cloud computing space. I wasn't really wanting to be an entrepreneur, but at the time, like I couldn't really find a company that would hire me. And so I was just like, you know what, might as well just do my own thing then. And so I started this cloud computing company. And the interesting thing about cloud computing companies is that, like, regardless of whether or not someone uses your servers, you still have like all these servers that are just sitting there ready to be used, right? So you've got all these like expenses you have to pay. You have to pay for them because they're on all the time, electricity, space, rent, etc. And so I started thinking about like, okay, how do I like cover the cost of these things? And so my solution was I had like started searching on the internet for like all these different solutions, and one of the solutions that came up was Bitcoin mining. And so I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's try this thing called Bitcoin. Like I was looking in the markets and, Mount Gox at the time and all that stuff. And it was
Yep.
like, okay, like maybe make like $5 or $10 a month. And so I started Bitcoin mining. And I think back then the rewards per block on Bitcoin was around like 50 Bitcoin per
I
block.
remember, yeah, because I was doing the same. I had one running in my office. My wife hated it because it made so much noise. And then I came up with like cooler. I came up with a cooler solution. Like I had this cooler with some. I cut like drilled holes in and did venting to make
Holy
it really.
cow.
Yeah, I was pretty crazy into it, and because just trying to cut down the noise because my wife was like she didn't want that money in our house, and then it's like she didn't
That's
care much for like
hilarious.
because it wasn't doing too that much, but it was more of just the noise was the factor, and yeah.
Oh
So yeah,
man.
everybody gets that's
Well,
where crypto.
yeah, mine were in data centers, so I didn't mind the noise as much.
Yeah,
Um,
didn't bother me.
but yeah, so I did that for a little bit, and like it was kind of it's one of those moments where you look back and it's really funny, but like every single month at the end of the month, all the Bitcoin we collected from that, I just like sold it.
Yeah,
And so, but that led me onto the road of like just learning more about crypto, especially back then, because like Bitcoin liquidity was kind of an issue, right? Like you can't
yeah, it
really
was,
quote
it was.
unquote dump Bitcoin like you can these days, right? Like you throw hundreds of thousands of dollars into the market and nothing happens, right? Before it's just like you throw
Yeah,
like
you
50
sit
bucks in
there,
the
you sit
market.
there either selling or buying. You just sit there waiting for it to go, and then it would go. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a different world. It was a different world. Now it's such a different. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, so that got me down the path of Bitcoin and like learning more
nice.
about like crypto. And then back in right like I think like probably around like the 2017 days, like the most recent bull run,
Yeah,
everyone decided to come out of the woodwork and start asking, I'm probably sure they ask you the same questions like what is Bitcoin? Should I buy
yeah,
Bitcoin? What is
yep.
Ethereum?
Shut
What
up.
are
What is it?
ICOs? Right? And so because of that, I started like writing about it. And so, I published a few articles, I guess, about crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain, and became kind of like a hobbyist blogger. And then around like 2018, during the bear market, I decided, to go pursue my MBA because what else do you do during a bear
Yeah,
market, right? You just kind of sit there and hibernate. And so
yeah,
I went to MIT, and that's where I
yeah.
met my co-founders. So Victor at the time, he was studying at Harvard and getting his master's in economics. and he
Nice.
had cross-registered for some courses in blockchain at MIT. And I
Okay.
was actually the teaching assistant for those courses. And those
Oh,
courses
that's
were actually led by Gary Gensler, who's
oh
the,
yeah, I know.
new
Yeah,
SEC
yep.
chair.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because I've heard about those classes. I didn't know that you were in them. Yeah, that's funny. Oh my
yeah,
god, that's hilarious.
I was the
Small world.
teaching assistant for those. And yeah, did a bunch of those classes and got to know Victor through just various blockchain events in the crypto
Nice.
ecosystem in Boston. And then Shuma, our technical co-founder, he was working at Algorand at the time,
All
and he
right.
was designing like their smart contract system, building the whole Turing completeness out for them. And so yeah, I mean that's how we kind of met,
Good
all in the
combo, good
Boston
combo of
area.
people. Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, Boston's such a hotbed. Yeah, that's where I was working with a previous company out of there. So yeah, it's a
Nice.
great place. Boston's a really cool place. So.
Where are you located now?
Well, I'm in Arizona. I'm in Tucson. I work remotely. So I'm in Tucson, Arizona. So
You
it's
got your ceiling fan on, so I know you're hot.
yeah, yeah. Got to keep it cool. Got to keep it cool because it's definitely even right now we're in November. It's a hot winter. We have it's like 80 something degrees, which is
Mm.
ridiculous.
Well, you know
So it's
what's really ridiculous
all right.
is, I mean,
Uh-huh.
equally ridiculous is, so
Mhm.
Boston, I think it snowed like 2 days ago or 2 nights ago. And
Yeah,
then today it's like too hot for a sweater.
that's one extreme to the next. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is yeah. No, that's the we're kind of in that realm typically at this time of the year. So we're either wearing a sweater or t-shirt. So
Yeah,
it's
but
such
is
a
it this time of year? Usually it's earlier, right? Now
it
it's
it
just like
usually is usually
dead
around
of
now.
winter.
Yeah, it should be getting cooler, but yeah, we're just in a weird state. But definitely. So yeah, so I want to talk to you. I know a lot of people want to know about what Manta's plans are. Where you guys see it going? Because and first of all, congratulations. I got to say first on several things. Launching the token, calamari, big success. I think I'm a big fan of how you guys have done that and launched it. I know a lot of people were so anxious to see it launch and everything. And I tell several people, I was like, Kenny always has big plans. It seems like, and you always deliver. It may take a
Well,
few
thank
weeks
you.
or something like that, and you've delivered so far. Yeah, so far it's been
It's
great.
not me. It's not me.
Yeah,
I'm just
you and
I'm
the
just
team.
a messenger.
Yep.
Okay?
Well,
Like
you and the
that's my
team. But
role.
hey, but that's the best thing. But being the messenger, you're either praised or killed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I've
it's a
been stabbed to death plenty of times these past few
yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, I know. That's the hard part with the community. They love you and hate you. One minute they hate you, next minute they'll love you and they'll praise you. So, but yeah, but you got the coins out to everybody, and I think it was a major success. I can't believe you guys got 5 exchanges. So that
That
was
was
well,
that was a lot of coordination. That was a lot of Victor.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
give
yeah,
credit where it's
yeah.
due there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm involved quite a bit with Bifrost with getting the partnerships out there and stuff, and it's grueling. It's tough. So,
Yeah,
congrats to that, definitely.
thank you.
And yeah, and then now Manta success looks like it's going to be a big success too. I think that is going to go well. So yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about what your plans are for Manta, where you want to go with that, and what you're looking to kind of get from the crowd loan itself, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So, Manta was always sort of a pet project of us.
Mhm.
When I say us, myself and the co-founders. And it's because, like, as very active people in the crypto space, we've always been kind of worried about our privacy, but we've gotten into the habit of trying to circumvent that. And what I mean by that is essentially like, before I send you any funds, what I'll do is probably I'll send them into like, a centralized exchange first and then withdraw from the centralized exchange to a new wallet address. So you don't see like all my assets that I've been staking and
Yeah,
like all the different tokens I have and the shit coins that I have in my wallet.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You want the privacy, yeah, and
yeah,
it makes sense. Yeah,
yeah. But we know like privacy is not there. So people have just found ways around it in like very weird circumnavigation, right? And so like that's
yeah,
exactly what I did. That's exactly what Victor and Shuma do. That's exactly what like a lot of people we know do. In fact, like we did this survey back in like February of this year just to try to understand if like it's a real concern or if it's just us. And we
mhm,
surveyed over like 400 people in the crypto space. These are like traders, fund managers, just crypto degens, et cetera. And we started quantifying this problem, and it's like I think it was about like three-fourths of people, like 3 out of 4 respondents, 75% of respondents have like either hesitated to make a transaction or just altogether didn't make a transaction due to their privacy issues, privacy concerns, right? And so like we know it's affecting user behavior on chain. And then 90% of people responded that they've admitted to looking at other people's wallet addresses. And honestly, I think 90% is low.
It affects the market. No, it affects the market. I mean, I hear people all the time say, "Oh, this whale did this. This whale did
Yeah.
that. Let's watch what this whale is going to do." And I think from just outside of the privacy of protecting user, but to protect the markets too. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely, because it is bad for the markets. Because definitely.
And you know what's really funny right now is the
Yeah.
parachain auctions. Because
Yes.
what you see here is you've got all these like VCs that support more than one parachain, right? They support more than one project. They invested in many different projects in the Polkadot ecosystem. And now it comes time to like put your money where your mouth is again. And you've got to support the projects. What do you do? Right? Like if you give one project more than another, someone else is just going to look on chain and be like, hey, why did you give them more than you gave me? Right? Like, and it's just one of those things where it's like, they have reasons for what they do, and like those reasons are respectable, but like there's no level of privacy for them to be able to act in a way that the response is going to be that great, unless they give like everyone equal shares, in which case it does nothing for anyone, right? And so we see privacy manifesting in very weird ways, or the problem of privacy manifesting in very weird ways on chain. And I think like when you look 3 to 5 years from now, it's just going to get much worse, right? And so like when you're looking at solutions currently, some of the things that we see are like the Zcash and Moneros of the world. And, like I think from a technology perspective, it's amazing, right? Like what they've built, how they've designed it. But from like a use case perspective, right, there's definitely, we think, improvement to be made, right? Because like you don't just want to transact in Zcash. I don't want to transact in Zcash. I want to transact in DOT. I have a bunch of DOT and I want to transact in DOT. So I don't want to go to a centralized exchange, buy Zcash, use my DOT, and then do all this other stuff, right? Do a whole dance. I just want to transact in DOT. And so like, why isn't there a solution out there that lets me do that? And so that's why we built Manta. Yeah. And just like if you want to transact in a Kala stablecoin, if you want to transact in Glimmer, if you want to transact in Manta, et cetera, all privately, then
all right here.
there should be, exactly, right? They shouldn't have to each have their own in-house cryptography team to build out their zero knowledge proof systems to do this. This should be provided as a service. And so that's what we're doing, right? Like we're just trying to provide privacy as a service.
And I think that's what a lot of people in the community are excited to see, because I think a lot of people do see the need for this. So it is a great thing that you guys are providing. So definitely very cool. So yeah, definitely. So with the crowd loan now, you guys are doing the crowd loan. Where are you guys? What is your strategy for that? What are you looking to gain from that? What are you looking to gain from the Parachain itself? Because it's a big deal to get, and then stuff.
Yeah, what are we looking to gain from it? We're looking to gain a Parachain.
I should say. What are you looking to do with that Parachain? I should say. Yeah, definitely. The Parachain, it's a trophy. It's a trophy too. It's not just
put it on display.
Yes, put it on display.
We're looking to put it on my trophy case and maybe make a TikTok video about it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. People be we need to have an AR Parachain, we can show it up or something like that. Show up with friends.
Put it in the metaverse. Put it on BitCountry.
We should.
But no. But in all seriousness, right? Like the Parachain, I think is getting a Parachain this batch has always been one of our goals, because I think like one of the main reasons we chose Polkadot in the first place, right? Out of many reasons. One of them was the fact that Polkadot is new. The ecosystem is entirely new. The projects are just coming out now. And the way that we look at it, bringing privacy on day one is like the best thing that you can do, right? Because every single data point that's public is another data point that is a point of vulnerability in the future. And so having privacy available as soon as possible is the best case scenario. And so that's exactly why we decided to go for batch one, right? And, I think we are in a good position to get one of the slots, and we are fighting hard. And, this is not the end of the story yet. I think it's only beginning. So yeah, we're pretty confident and we're pretty excited. I think the community's been very excited about it all the time. And, without their support, we wouldn't have gotten the Kusama Parachain. And so, like it's been a really fun adventure. But
Yeah, you mentioned community. I mean, I think that's a big thing because I noticed, I think there's a lot of projects that I think are realizing that community is a big deal. I mean, you've seen what Moon River has done. They've done a fantastic job getting their community. Bifrost, we're trying to build our community too. We want to see we're looking out for the community. We're trying to grow things, and I see you guys have done a great job with community. I know you've had your the interest you've been. I remember that the issue with when you guys were looking at selling some of the tokens for marketing and purposes and stuff, and you did take the community approach, which I think was the absolute greatest move you guys could have made, because it was one of the things that I think you gained a lot of trust from the community, which is a big deal. So yeah, I think the community is a big part of these, and that's what I think I personally love about this Dot Sama ecosystem. It is all community based. People enjoy it. It does feel like there's a lot of strive from the projects to deliver for the community. So yeah, definitely. So hopefully the Crowdloan people will see what you guys have done with Calamari and do the same backing with Manta right now. So I think that's hopefully. Yeah, definitely. Do want to talk a little bit technical too. We just talked about the Parachain, what you guys are doing for that, but why Substrate? What led you to Polkadot, and why Substrate's a great framework in my mind, but what was your guys's was Victor a big fan of it? How did you guys kind of stumble into Polkadot?
Yeah, so Polkadot was actually a project that I didn't really know about until like 2018. I was actually doing a research project on like interoperability in the crypto world, right? And so it was I kind of narrowed it down to two projects, Cosmos and Polkadot. And so I started researching a lot into those because I think because Binance Smart Chain was forking Cosmos, I think, right? I don't remember.
They were trying to work with them, I think, for a while, and I've heard rumors and different things, but I was the same too. I was in Cosmos, Adam. I was behind that originally, but then I really fell in love with Polkadot.
So I mean, specifically about Polkadot, right? I think when people are thinking about building applications, right, like the first thing that they think about is Ethereum. Smart contract systems, Turing completeness. There's a large, vibrant community, lots of developers, right? Like code base is maintained very well. Deploying is very easy. You don't have to go through Parachain auctions. You just spend some ETH and your smart contracts deployed.
Spend the money and do a little bit of work, and you're good to go. Yeah,
exactly. But there are some, drawbacks. And so one is you don't control the network, right? Like you don't have full underlying access to the layer one, which is kind of a setback for zero knowledge proofs, especially privacy as the utility version that we think of. Because you have to exist on top of the VM, and so that gets expensive, right? I mean, as we're seeing right now in Ethereum, I'm like looking at these smart contracts and the gas fees, and it's like up to around like $500 just to like do a transaction on a decentralized IDO platform. And it's just like, wow, we've replaced the middleman finally. And we've added in a more expensive middleman.
More expensive middleman, but more fair, more just middleman. Yeah.
Sure. Yes, but it comes at a price. But the problem with privacy is that, we already seen privacy kind of fall apart in Web 2.0, right? Like the existing internet systems that we have right now don't really take into account privacy. When you go to a website, now that it's post GDPR world, every single website is like, accept all these cookies so we can continue tracking you. And there's like this nice little button, or like go through each of the settings and uncheck each one that you don't want. Right. And so like they make privacy a super big inconvenience. And in Web 3.0, we don't want it to be an inconvenience as well. And like financial friction is definitely there. Right. If you have to pay $500 or $50 to $100 in gas fees every single time you make a private transaction, right, that means that privacy is now a luxury rather than a utility. And so, we decided to take an approach where we can be in better control of the network, control the fees better. And so we wanted to do layer one. But if we do layer one, how are you interoperable? It would just be another Zcash, right? And so we needed that plug and play.
And I think that's a lot of people's questions have been. A lot of questions have been, what's the differentiator? So makes sense.
So,
Yeah,
the interoperability, I mean, Substrate,
yeah,
it was like
yeah,
the natural answer to that. And so we
yeah.
started building on that, and yeah, that's how
Yeah.
we are where we
It's
are.
a great building blocks. I love the idea of having these modules, having the palettes. The palettes are easy to use.
Yeah.
It's easy to get the default. It's really easy to build on Substrate overall. I mean, not super easy, but it is easy, easier
We're
than
early adopters. We have
yeah,
to,
yeah.
iron out some of the kinks.
There's a lot of kinks. I mean, blockchain development is full of kinks. So yeah, definitely cool. So we talk about the controversial side of privacy coins. And I know Kraken was disappointing to me with Kraken that they didn't. I mean, I like Kraken, trust me, but but I was disappointed that you guys weren't able to get on there. And so where what do you guys think about this whole being controversial, and how are you guys working around that? Do you think it's more of just a knee-jerk reaction, or trying to protect themselves by pushing back on it, some of these exchanges, or kind of where do you think the whole controversy lies with privacy coins?
Yeah, I think, there is definitely a lot of controversy around privacy coins, especially right
Yeah.
now, as, more so on the regulatory compliance side. I think the ultimate stance is essentially that we see privacy as inevitable in Web 3.0, right? Like I guess two scenarios. One is, everything blows up in our face, crypto doesn't matter anymore, in which case privacy doesn't matter. But two, if crypto, if blockchain, everything scales, then we need to definitely take into account privacy, right? For all the reasons that we've already talked about. Um, and so, the question now is like in Web 3.0, how do you implement privacy? And so, we're taking a stance on how to implement it. Zcash is taking a stance on how to implement it. Lots of different privacy projects are taking a stance on exactly how to implement privacy. Is it controversial? Yes, of course. I think, looking back on, I don't even know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't know. Time is a blur right now. But
I know.
back before, when you opened up a Chrome browser and you can go to an HTTP website without any problems. Now you open up a Chrome browser, you go HTTP, and it says, "Oh, this site's not secure. We're not going to allow you to view it." Right?
It's funny. Yeah.
There was a whole battle with HTTP and
Oh,
HTTPS
I
too.
remember HBS. Yep. Oh, I remember. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
involved in that. Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious how things are, and then it's also, you go back to it. I mean, people are always, I think, fearful of the negative implications. So I'm sure you've heard all a million times over about how bad privacy can be used. Oh, it could be for drug money, for this, for that, and I mean, we heard the same thing about the internet. um,
Yes.
it's
And
very funny.
Bitcoin.
And Bitcoin, yes, Bitcoin is going to lead to bring down the entire world, and it's going to, all the drug users are going to use it, and we're done. So
Yes.
yeah, it's funny. So yeah, and I think that's where I think people need to get past, is that when you can't fight technology, you can't hold down technology. So if technology improves things, you can't hold it back. So I think that's where
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get there. But yeah, so are you guys making inroads with some of the exchanges with this kind of stuff? I mean, is it? I mean, I'm guessing so. I mean,
Yes.
obviously we've got 5 of them, but yeah. So yeah, I'm sure it's quite a process. I'm sure they're a little bit more. I guess a little bit more skeptical with you guys joining at first. They're I'm guessing a little bit more pushback than other coins that if you're an NFT project, I'm sure you guys have to jump through a lot more hoops, which is probably tiresome.
I will definitely say that, we've had very long conversations with the compliance teams on these exchanges.
I
But
could see.
I think one of the things that, makes it a little bit better is the fact that we aren't a privacy coin, right? It's not that our coin itself is doing private transactions. Our tokens are fully public.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
users can use our network to privatize crypto assets, and so they can privatize any coin, which means that technically DOT can be a privacy coin too. So
Yeah.
you know,
Good hold back dot. Yeah.
yeah. So but anyway, yeah. So I think like once they understand that we're building a privacy technology and not really a privacy coin, it's a little bit more open to the conversation for some exchanges.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So yeah, going back to the crowd loan, I did want to talk about Bifrost a little bit and your guys' partnership with them, because Bifrost is a great place. I think it's growing a lot as far as, bringing people on board, giving people liquidity. So what was it that really attracted you to Bifrost, and how's it been so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys were the first out the gate, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
you guys were so first out the gate that we weren't even able to use you guys for the KSM one.
Yeah, it was just the timing. I think with you guys, I think another week, I think, and I think could have got access to liquidity because
Yeah.
yeah, I remember talking. Yeah, our core team is amazing. Like we have really good people. Headed by Lurpus, and it's been great. So they're definitely always improving. Was it easy to integrate with Bifrost from your perspective? I mean, as far as getting
Oh,
set up, yeah.
yeah, I think so, right? Like the process is pretty cookie cutter. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that's
pretty
why I keep telling
seamless.
people, and a lot of people don't understand why Bifrost is so great, and that it does give you a lot access. I tell people all the time, go through Bifrost to get access to liquidity, and it's not harming the project. The project still gets full support. You don't have to. It's not a huge discount. We're not. Bifrost isn't charging and Manta, huge amounts of money to run on their platform. So I try to tell people, go through Bifrost so you get access to liquidity, because I think that's a lot of people's fear. I think when they go to, especially with Polkadot being longer lease periods, you have 2 years. So I
Yeah,
always try to tell people,
definitely.
you're gonna get your access to your liquidity much easier. So yeah.
Yeah, the liquidity side's definitely important. Like
Mhm.
access to it is I think it's inevitable because people are markets change. It's a very volatile space.
Big time.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
de-risking in that way is definitely important. And that's exactly why we wanted to do it with you guys on KSM. Wasn't really able to do it, but now we're doing
I
with you
mean,
guys on DOT.
yeah. We're I know ready. They're ready. The team is ready, and we've got great. So it's
Yeah,
definitely.
don't take it the wrong way. I mean, like,
Yeah,
we
it was the
we of
timing.
all
Oh no,
projects
I
know
mean,
about delays. But like at the end of the day, it's
I
like,
try to tell people. I mean, in software, I mean, I've been doing software development for years. I've been a part of major applications. Worked with Apple. There's delays left and right everywhere. I
yeah.
mean, people don't understand how difficult software is. I don't want to bring this up too much, but I was dying at one of your tweets a while back when somebody was telling you hurry up, and the response was just so good, because I think a lot of people just, and to be fair, I think a lot of people just don't understand the complexities that are involved here and how hard it is to forecast,
Yeah, yeah.
dates and actually
Definitely,
hitting those
especially
dates.
because we're not on Ethereum, right? It's not
Yes.
like people have done this thousands of times and we already know the process, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's just like kind of closing their eyes and hoping that they can find the doorknob to the next room.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. And I think I noticed one thing. I was talking to somebody recently. I think I noticed with Gavin Wood what he's been doing with with the launches. Before the Parachain launches, when he didn't put any hard dates. Always said coming in the next few weeks or next couple months. Very very cleverly not dropping dates. I think he's learned his lesson probably in past software
I think I've
experiences.
learned my lesson too.
Well, I would say I learned my lesson, but then I never do, and then I promise dates, and then I get
It's
programming, and then
hard. It's
it's
all they
difficult.
when community asks, you got to figure out something.
Well, you want to deliver for them. You're excited to deliver for them, and you're hopeful that you got it all in line, and then something unforeseen happens, and it's difficult. So yeah,
Yeah,
but you guys
definitely
have
security
delivered.
first.
Yeah, you guys have
Security
definitely
first.
delivered, which is huge. Yeah, security is everything. That's number one. You don't want to fall flat on your face for sure.
Yeah.
So one last thing, I just want to ask you for the future, before we get community questions real quick. Where do you guys see this going further on? And do you have anything, that you're really targeting in the future functionality wise that you want to bring in, or where do you want to see Manta go to?
Yeah. So three categories. The
Uh-huh.
first is focusing more so like short to medium term, which is launching our products, right? Like Manta Pay and Manta Swap. We want to make sure that those products are launched, and not just launched in the sense that we throw it out into the world and forget about it, but we want them to be very successful.
Mhm.
So that's going to be the first chapter of our focus. The second chapter of our focus is going to be developing our own ecosystem. And so right now we are in the research phase of building out Turing completeness on top of our network. So that would be, virtual machine support.
Okay.
And so that allows other, projects to develop applications on top of us. And so, as I mentioned, right, Shumo, he worked at Algorand, he developed the entire smart contracting platform there. And so, we have slightly a head start there. And so that would be chapter 2. And then chapter 3 is designing the Manta network underlying technology as more of a middleware. And so what I mean by that essentially is like, being able to use privacy truly as a utility in the Polkadot ecosystem, in the sense that people should have access to privacy universally within the ecosystem without having to worry about going to any particular application, or even that they're interacting with Manta's network. Just like how, you open your laptop and you're connected to the internet, you don't have to worry about the ISP. You turn on your water and your faucet's running, you don't have to worry about who the energy provider is. Same thing that we want to do for privacy.
That's cool. Yeah. And I think that even extends to blockchains in general. It is one of those things everybody wants to understand what, how blockchains work and everything. And I think in the future, as we integrate throughout the world with, with blockchain and, cryptography, but we see that for the average person, they shouldn't know. It should just work behind the scenes. So I love that answer. Yeah, that's a big deal, because they're never going to grasp it. A lot of people, the average user, will not grasp. I mean, I'm sure the people listening right now are more educated people in the world as far as understanding how blockchains work. But you have your average person. It's a difficult thing for them to come to understand. So awesome. So let's go to community questions real quick. So a few questions that we picked out that were submitted. So one person wanted to know, what was the most challenging obstacle you had to overcome so far?
Man, there's so many to choose from.
I can imagine.
I think the most challenging one was probably the IDO that you had mentioned earlier, right? That was a lot of miscommunication on our part. I think like there were events that ended up happening that kind of shifted our strategy from day to day. But I think at the end of the day, the community spoke, and we wanted to make sure that our goals were more so aligned with making sure that we're all unified as a community moving forward, rather than making sure what we do with our marketing budget. So but ironically, now people are like, "Don't you have a marketing budget? What are you going to do?"
That's what I was trying to get that before. Yeah,
we don't really have a budget yet.
I don't think a lot of people knew what you guys were trying to do with that money. It was to benefit the project, which in turn benefits the holders themselves, because I think that's where a lot of people were afraid of. And it was such a but the thing is, you did get on top of it. I mean, I was watching the chats come through and stuff when I saw you jump in, and you were active as heck, which is I think is the best thing. I think a lot of people learned from that, and I think you gained a lot of fans from that too. Just
awesome.
Sounds like it was a disaster at the beginning, but then you guys flipped it around, and people instead, I think you showed your true colors, that you guys are behind the community, which is huge, and I think it's a benefit. I think people will remember that. So, yeah, definitely. Another question somebody had was, what are the plans to educate and raise awareness, adoption of the community, to make more people understand about the project easily? So, like, how are you going to educate the community about the project? Because that's one of the hardest things in crypto.
Yeah, so we actually thought about that when we designed our Parachain auction. So we have this allocation of 15%, and out of that 15%, 12% of it is fully allocated to whoever contributes, right? But there's a 3% reserve, so that's like an extra bonus of Manta network tokens that you get as a crowd loaner. It's exclusive to crowd loaners. But in order to get this 3%, this extra like pool of tokens, you have to play with Manta Pay. You have to, deposit some liquidity, try it out, and then you can like withdraw your liquidity. We don't care, but at least you tried it out. You know what we're doing, right? And so like that was kind of built into our strategy for our Parachain auctions. And then furthermore, right, like I think one of the stances that we're taking right now is like, on the one hand, we do want people to try out our products, try out our services, but on the other hand, it's more important to be able to enable privacy for other Parachain assets. And so, one of the things we're focusing on as a next step as well is XCM integration across various different projects. And, that's something that we're going to start working on later this month. And so being able to integrate there, right, being able to expose privacy into other projects, I think will be able to help raise some of the awareness of exactly what we're doing.
Yep. Got to have a little, powered by Manta or something below. Yeah. So very cool. Very cool.
Intel
Yeah. Yeah.
inside.
Yeah. Intel inside. Yeah, exactly. You know where I was going with that. One of the problems with platforms that are that are interoperable is slippage and speed of operations. How are you guys solving that? How does your service handle that for users and stuff? So I think that's somebody's question was asking. So
Yeah, I mean the speed is definitely. I mean, I don't think Manta Network can take credit for all the speed, right? Because that's like
Polkadot,
so.
Kasama, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Maybe that's why you guys chose
yeah.
chose it. Yeah.
I would say that there is an aspect of speed and performance that I will take credit for, or Manta Network will take credit for,
Yeah.
and that is the zero knowledge proof generation. And so we want to make that as fast as possible so that the overall performance is still really good for the user. And so we've designed a system in a way where the zero knowledge proof is actually generated locally on your computer. And that accomplishes two things. One is it uses your own computer's local device power, which is much better than like, running on top of like Chrome or
Remote
something.
server. Yeah. Right
Yeah.
on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, that's one side of it. And then the second side of it is the fact that it provides an added layer of privacy and security because now none of that transaction data ever has to flow through the internet to like a cloud server or anything, right?
Mhm.
It's all computed locally. And then, once that's all done, then all the transactions that go on chain are fully private. Um, so that's one thing. And then like what was the other part of the question? There was the slippage.
Slippage. Yep. Slippage is a big. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more of a balancing act that we're gonna have to figure out with
Mhm.
liquidity. And
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
that's
As
that's
you
a
grow,
different
as
kind
you
of
grow.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Slippage has been a huge challenge for. Across the board. So yeah.
yeah.
So one last question we have here, and then I'll go through the questions that people asked real quick in the comments here. These were submitted questions.
Hmm.
The other one question was, so this is the first time somebody's come across they just recently came across your project, and they want to know about, how would you convince people that it's safe and secure and that they can feel comfortable with, jumping on. I don't know if you want to address that a little bit. Yeah.
How can we convince people that it's safe and secure?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, there's a couple of ways that we can do that. One is more on just the pure code base level, right? Like all of our code is open source.
Yeah.
And especially as we deploy products, we will not deploy a product without open sourcing the code first. And so this is, your own sort of auditing process, if you may.
Yep.
On top of that, right, like we will have audits, but like if anyone can dig into it themselves to see exactly how we're deploying, what we're deploying, and they can, hash that to make sure that the hashes of our deployment match what we are saying that there is inside.
Mhm.
And so I think that's like the ultimate way of knowing that the platform is safe and secure. If you want to get a little bit more high level, more obfuscated, then I guess just our reputation in the space, right? Like I'm not saying we have an amazing reputation, but like like we're not
Yeah.
hiding, right? I'm here
Yeah,
showing
you're
our
out. Yeah,
face,
you're showing your face. I think that's a big deal. That is a big deal. You're right.
and
And one more thing I thought I'd just add too is you guys are built on Polkadot and Substrate. I'm sorry, Polkadot and Kasama. The Substrate framework. You're going to get those inherent security benefits by having
exactly.
as they grow. I always tell people that people don't understand how that works, and I said, yeah, as they release security fixes, the projects that are running on top, especially the Parachain projects, are going to get those inherent benefits, which is fantastic. So. Cool. Awesome. And then let me go through these questions real quick. We have a few that we're in. I'm going to ask just one or two of them, I think, because I think we've been going for a while. So I don't want to keep you too long. Let's see. So one person's asking here, do you think Manta network can be used beneficial for game-based decentralized applications like MMORPGs styles, account for inventory and private environments? How do you think that's going to affect the gaming market? Do you see that? Have you guys looked into that much?
I mean, we've looked into it a little bit in terms of metaverses, right? And that's probably the closest analogy that I can think about to gaming right now in terms of like the research areas that we're looking at, because, specifically with metaverses, because of, the partnership we have with BitCountry, right? Like that's been kind of an area of focus for us. And so, long answer is, or the short answer is essentially like yes, with an asterisk in the sense that, we are looking into this and trying to figure out use cases. They are pretty exclusive to, purely Web3 and within the Polkadot ecosystem. So, we're not probably coming to World of Warcraft anytime soon. But like any sort of metaverse games, if there is a use case for privacy, then it's definitely something that we can integrate.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I think that's about it. Do you have anything you want to add at last push or anything for, like to see people contribute to you guys? I would recommend people contribute by far to Manta. I think it's a great project, and definitely go through Bifrost so you can get your liquidity. But do you want to add anything else?
No, just thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being a great partner. And, like I think all of our communication has been so smooth and the integration process has been great. And so, couldn't have asked for a better experience.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you guys delivering on everything. You've been delivering consistently, and the communication from you guys, I think, is definitely one of the best in the project. So keep up the work, and I know keep drinking that coffee because I know you've been killing it. So
killing the coffee, yes, turning it into an endangered plant.
I'm sure you need a lot of it, right now. I mean, but definitely, Then go enjoy some beers too, because you need to relax, because it's a lot of work. I know. I've seen how active you are, so I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks so much, Kenny. Thanks for your time. Take care now. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.